welcome to the Game Buzz, where we go through the hottest bits of news from this week. And there's been a lot of new shit this week. A lot of new stuff being announced, new stuff being revealed, games that have proper titles now, like Project Zwei becoming The Evil Within, and that's about all we know.
Yeah, well, that's not quite all we know. We know that Shinji Mikami is making it, which of course we already knew. And we also know that it's going to be a survival horror game and will feature sunflowers, perhaps, in some capacity. Also monsters.
Yes, and barbed wire, apparently,
And barbed wire. So thanks for that, Vine, and also thanks for that IGN, for that fantastic reveal in which we learnt absolutely nothing. However, there is a very cool live action segment that you should probably go and watch. It's really creepy.
It's very disturbing.
It's pretty disturbing. It's quite tentacular.
Can we just stop doing non-reveals? It's like the Destiny reveal that was not a reveal.
Yeah, I'd love a Destiny reveal. I'd like it when they finally get around to actually revealing the game. But then again, that's coming out in 2014.
Well, goody, which means we'll probably have another 2 or 3 of those style reveals.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's the same with Project Zwei. I mean, they don't want to fully reveal everything now because there's Christmas in between and you'll forget about it.
Well, no, obviously not, but it would be nice to have something relatively tangible, just an idea or a concept, or just.
Well, clearly you don't need that because pre-orders are already open for Destiny, and people are pre-ordering the PS3 even though they don't know what it looks like or the PS4 even though they don't know what it looks like or how much it will cost.
Stop pre-ordering things based on no information, consumers. You're making it worse.
Yes, you are. And you're making things worse, like the fact that Metro Last Light's sort of Raider mode, its new Ranger mode, its really exciting hardcore mode, will be pre-order DLC.
Stop.
It's your fault. Stop pre-ordering stuff.
Stop it. Stop doing it.
Well, unless it's like really awesome deals. Definitely do that. Not that we're in any way biased.
Deals are all good, though. I mean, everyone likes saving money.
Yeah, exactly. Saving money is awesome.
Cater to that.
Yeah.
That impulse. Yeah, so that was a new thing this week. FIFA 14 got released? No, that would have been lovely. Got revealed this week again with lots and lots of lovely little buzzwords like teammate intelligence, and basically they're just tuning everything up. Pure shots. Apparently shooting's been transformed. There's the ball physics has apparently got even more realistic. But the thing is, this all sounds lovely. It sounds like they're making some big changes to the gameplay. And to be fair, a couple of years back, they made the physicality of the game a lot better. But last year's release, I felt, took too much control away from the player. It's lovely to have these systems. But the one thing that PES did last year that FIFA kind of went in the opposite direction of was PES gave you complete control, so much control, whereas FIFA's been sort of we're going to have the computer do more stuff on the back end, and sort of I don't know, FIFA 13 seemed a bit sterile because of it.
I know what you mean, but I think FIFA 14 is trying and in response to PES last year, I think it really is trying to give control back, because now you've got just these really big features that we've been wanting for ages, like curling lofted through balls.
I love that shit.
Yeah, I also have no idea I know what each of those individual words mean. apart perhaps from lofted. Lofted is what usually. Lofted is what usually happens when I finish playing my yearly playthrough of Panzer Dragoon Saga, and then I have to put it back in its box and stick the Saturn back up in the attic.
That's a lofted.
That's what lofted game. That's what lofted means to me.
Lofted balls. You put your balls in the attic.
No.
Not again.
No.
Never again.
Never.
The other 11 months of the year. So FIFA 14 is a thing. We can't pass any sort of judgment on it at all.
Yeah. See what you did there. That was good.
I didn't
mean
nice.
Outstanding.
Nice. No, Matt, that was well played. Well played. Yes.
Yeah, with hopefully we're going to be at E3 and Gamescom this year, so we will get hands-on time with that and let you know if it's any good. One thing though,
score some hands-on
stick Ultimate Team in the box again. Do that, EA, and we will love you for it. Ultimate Team is amazing. I'm really excited about seeing what they're doing with that this year. That was That's another reveal. And of course, 3DS Direct happened this week.
Yes, it did.
Right.
Once again, proving that owning a 3DS is just one of the smartest things you can do at the moment. I mean, the selection of games they've revealed perhaps aren't for everyone, but we've got stuff out now, like right now, like Fire Emblem Awakening, that you should go out and buy right now, if not buy a 3DS to play it on, being that it's the best game of the year. But you've also, well, so far anyway, but we've also got firm new details on a new Mario Party game, on a new Mario and Luigi RPG, more information on Bravely Default being localized, which will be great news to all the Japanese import fans like myself who can't import anything because the 3DS is region locked. Okay, maybe it's not that smart a purchase after all. But yeah, we've just had loads of cool new reveals this week, and it's just going to be one hell of a year for that console.
Really is. Like, big names. Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Yoshi.
Oh yes, new Yoshi and new Zelda. Yeah, and old Zelda. And a new old Zelda.
A sort of new old Donkey Kong.
Yeah, and a new old brand new old Donkey
Can we just use the word nold?
Well, technically it's the brand new old new Donkey Kong.
Nold.
Country returns.
Yeah, because it's
3D.
the brand new game of the new game for the Wii that was the old game of the new thing of the old.
Nold. I'm telling you.
Nold.
Nold.
Cubed.
Yes.
So I don't know. We love you, Nintendo. Well, except Carl. Carl doesn't love you, Nintendo, apparently.
Hate you. Although, in fairness, I was impressed by the lineup that they showed for the Nintendo Direct. There is more chance of me getting the 3DS now than there is the Wii U.
I won.
So
being that its killer app is now out, and
basically
you've just
Fire
got
Emblem
to buy
looks
Fire Emblem
fantastic.
Awakening. Buy Fire Emblem Awakening. Not only is it just one of the most awesome portable strategy games you'll ever play, but it's also a brilliant RPG, an actual role-playing game. Like in my game, a sort of peasant farm boy who I rescued from this side mission that I didn't even have to complete. I didn't have to go to, I didn't have to do, and I fulfilled conditions in there that led me to recruiting him into my army, fell in love with a beautiful and shy dancer in the game, randomly, dynamically. They had children, married, and the children became playable characters.
Did they all die, though?
Well, that would be telling. But that, again, is another, well, sort of systemic, almost randomized thing that will happen.
That's what I mean.
If you screw up, they might die. They haven't, because I am the kind of gamer who jealously reloads saves until.
Yeah.
I'm a big man. I feel like I'm big enough to admit that. I really made a big effort, because in XCOM I had to put on Iron Man mode to stop myself doing that.
Yeah.
And I love the fact you could do that. I wish Fire Emblem Awakening had an Iron Man mode that just overwrote your saves as soon as someone died. That would have been amazing. But I have no willpower. But you see, there is also a newcomer mode as well. I don't want to get back on this. I've written like 2,000 words about this. The review is far too long, but the sort of TLDR version is buy Fire Emblem Awakening, buy it now, for God's sake buy it, and then come to Southend, stand in an orderly queue and let me street pass you.
Oh no,
I command it.
Again. It's happening again.
Robbing in Essex.
It's the only way, mate. The only way is
apparently so. Oh no!
Oh,
we got a tally joke into a tech podcast. What's going on?
You've done quite well to
manage. What are you on about? Our podcasts are totally ream, mate. You're just well, Joel.
Move on.
Leave. No.
Anyway, yeah. Nintendo Direct.
Why don't you have a 3DS yet, Carl? I mean, I mean that in a serious fashion.
Seriously? Well,
considering that you can get Mario Kart and Mario Tennis and Super.
I have made it very public that I think 3D is not necessarily at the point where it's worthwhile yet. I still
don't
think
buy it for the 3D.
Exactly. When it first came out, that was the big draw, wasn't it? 3D, and the fact that you'd have small-scale Nintendo games, as we always have with like the DS. So yeah, I didn't get one based on that. There weren't enough games to interest me at the time as well. So yeah, that's why I didn't get
And to
one.
be honest, I mean, you've mainly been into you're real heavily into the MMO side of things,
Yeah.
the multiplayer side of things, and I don't think the 3DS is necessarily maybe just a good fit for the sort of stuff you're into. It's horses for courses. On the
Exactly.
other hand, the Vita is ostensibly powerful enough to handle MMOs, like Phantasy Star Online 2
Exactly.
is going to be on the Vita.
This is my point.
So,
Like
yeah,
we've already discussed this and
sure.
everything else. So
Check out our handheld episode. It's really awesome.
exactly, yeah. But the point is that after the Nintendo Direct, there is more chance of me getting a 3DS than there is a Wii U now, and I will be keeping an eye out because if a decent deal comes along with a bundle, then yeah, I'd get involved with that.
Yeah.
Also, keep an eye out for John trying to rub you down.
It
Yes.
will happen.
3DS XL.
It will definitely happen. Also, as soon as Square brings out Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 3, I am just going to be...
Yeah, that'd
Oh
get
my
my
God, I'd buy another one. And oh yeah, the 3DS XL Circle Pad Pro has gone on sale in the States as well. And as we suspected, it is in fact the size and shape of a Fiat Punto. So, good luck with carrying that around, guys.
Oh, I crave that Animal Crossing one, like the 3DS XL. I
crave Animal Crossing as well. Yet another big game that we learnt more about. Looks like a really fun, almost asynchronous multiplayer mode in there now as well. Yeah, and then there's Pokemon.
There's Pokemon.
And then there's an Etrian Odyssey 4 is coming. Project Cross Zone is coming. It's all happening. And and even there's a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game that actually is getting very well reviewed. That's coming out next month. There's all sorts of great stuff coming out right now. So yeah, I really hope Soul Sacrifice is great.
So do we think when Bill Trinan turned round, this news went up today. We're recording this on Friday, to say that the 3DS is really going to take off this year. He said handhelds have been traditionally slow in the US, but that this will be the year that the console really starts to take off. And he pointed to the software line, and really that's something we've been saying since January, since December almost.
For sure.
This really ought to be the year that the 3DS just smashes it.
It really should be, because it's got the software lineup, but I do feel that the hardware, I still feel they're shooting themselves in the foot without putting in that second circle pad on the right hand side. I don't see why they couldn't put that in, and I think they could offer an even more diverse range of software if they put one on. And also, make it region free, for fuck's sake. I apologise for the cuss, but actually, no, I don't. It's absolutely deserved. But for God's sake, Nintendo, let people import the games you release in Japan. There's a thriving market there of people who will buy them.
It's true.
It makes absolutely no sense. It's ridiculous. Whereas the Vita is just flourishing. People love it as an import console. Well, flourishing is the wrong word. The three people, the three people besides us who bought one are certainly enjoying its import functionality. Definitely.
There's lots for handheld Ninty fans to be excited for.
Oh yes. And on the Wii U, we've got a firmware update to look forward to. Yeah, firmware update. Oh yeah, it's now going to take only a few seconds to get back to the main menu rather than ages to get back to the main menu. So it's great to see them finally sorting out their terrible OS. But I have got ahead of myself slightly. Earthbound is coming to Wii U. Earthbound is coming, and that means finally I can delete all of my I can play Earthbound on my Wii U. So that's great. I don't have any. What's a ROM? Emulate what?
Yeah, we don't have any sort
Dingo
of
A3,
devices.
Dingo A320. What? What? What?
It's about time. The technology has been in place forever, Nintendo.
Yes, and the fact is they knew this demand was here because it's one of the best JRPGs ever made. Everybody knows it is because everybody has been forced to emulate it. And people were forced to translate it in the first place as well, and do these fan hacks and ROMs and stuff. I'm sorry, but that's actually the only way we all know that it's great. But we've never done that though. I've heard that it's great. I can't remember who told. It was someone. Someone said it was super great. I definitely haven't played it illicitly on the train every year.
Everything.
So yeah. So no, I've never done that. But now, the fact is, Earthbound has almost sort of legitimized piracy almost these last few years, because people have said, look, Nintendo aren't bringing these games out. Apart from going on eBay and spending stupid money, there is no way to get this game. There is no way to buy this game. There is no way to give Nintendo money for this game. So why shouldn't we be able to download a ROM?
It's the argument that comes up every time piracy subject comes up.
Time.
So like, if the technology allows you to do these things, I'd love to have given Nintendo money for that game.
I'd have done it on the Game Boy. I'd have done it on the Game Boy Advance. Any handheld console, I'd have done it on. The original Wii. Any if they'd have just released it, like a Game & Watch, even, I'd have bought that. That would have been a kick-ass Game & Watch. Really big one,
right?
But yeah, or like loads of different ones. But no, they, the fact is, there was no way to give Nintendo money for this game, and people wanted to and couldn't. So, get a ROM then. But now, now at least they're bringing these out. So more of this, please, more of this. The Wii U Virtual Console is coming out the day after the system update, so now we'll be able to pay lots of money for, like, Exevious probably, and Excitebike and Punch Out and lots of other games that probably won't be worth several quid, but will be quite nostalgic.
Nor worth buying a Wii U for, crucially.
Oh, but no, dude, Earthbound, totally worth buying a Wii U for. Delete your ROMs and buy a Wii U because Earthbound's out. That should be their slogan. It's a bit big to fit on a t-shirt. Buy a Wii U right now.
Like the RRP just comes in the tiniest font at the bottom, just like embarrassingly.
Yeah, remember the RRP is that plus the cost of Earthbound. That's the yeah, but that's fine. I do kind of feel though that they really should, and there's been a comment on site about this as well. They should bring this to the 3DS. We've got lots of great JRPGs on the 3DS now, and we're getting Bravely Default, and we're getting Etrian Odyssey 4, and I'm about to go off on another 3DS rampage again, but more always help, and it would be a great fit for a portable console. Not that I've installed it on a portable emulator or anything.
No, of course not.
Ever. I've never done that.
It's never happened. None of us have.
I haven't done that. I have not done that today.
Right, so yes, that's the new stuff from this week. Quotage. Right, the first thing I want to tackle is Cap.
Tackle? You should have said that during the FIFA bit, because...
Stop it.
Right, sorry.
Stop it.
You're on fire today, man.
I'm just accidentally reaming the puns out like a pun production line, like a punduction line. And yes, Capcom. Thank you. Yet another publisher with slightly disappointing sales reports, suggesting that their decline in quality is due to, well, amongst other things, excessive outsourcing, which seems like an enormous U-turn.
Yes, and not only a U-turn, but sort of like stabbing Ninja Theory in the back. Like, Capcom went up to Ninja Theory and said, hey, we got this cool new philosophy where we're outsourcing everything to Western developers. Hey, do you want to make a new DMC? And they were like, well, since you asked nicely, yeah, go on then. And then they made a really kick-ass game, because DMC Devil May Cry is a kick-ass game. And then Capcom said, well, you fucked it up. All of you, it's your fault. You ruined it. We've only sold only 1.15 million copies, even though the advertising campaign and the controversy were really badly handled. So yeah, it seems very churlish to blame this stuff on excessive outsourcing, whereas the major problem is perhaps just not concentrating on quality. Don't get me wrong, Operation Raccoon City ain't great or good or worth playing, and it's awful, but that's just a drop in the ocean compared to, say, Resident Evil 6. And the problem is that they spend so much on developing their games and have these such ridiculously big dev teams that even though Resident Evil 6 sold an insane number of copies, it's still not making a profit.
Yeah,
It sold 4.9 million copies. 4.9 million copies.
it's the same thing as we saw with the Square thing. You look at the
Yeah.
figures of the sales, and you're just like, that's a lot.
That's a huge amount, and it's
That's an enormous amount.
It's absolute scapegoat. It's transparent scapegoating to the shareholders, saying it's not because we totally just threw in far too much money and went way crazily over budget and had realistic projections that we're losing money. It's the evil Westerners. So basically, yeah, like they admitted that they did admit that there was insufficient coordinating between the marketing and the game development divisions in overseas markets, which means that their trailers were crap, and a delayed response to the expanding digital contents market, which means releasing boxed games that probably could have been delivered digitally and smaller for less overheads.
Well, that's the key point, I think, and it's this ties into this current generation, which is heavily propped up by retail, or hamstrung by retail. Because the fact is that what was fine for the start of this generation is now rapidly becoming not so fine for the end of it, and that's going to be so key going into next gen, because digital distribution, as we've seen from the PC, the PC market has basically left the high street completely. But you get variable price points, you get awesome sales, you get cheaper prices, more units shifted digitally. It costs so much less because you don't have to ship anything.
Yep.
And
it kicks ass. And Capcom,
and you can experiment. You can experiment with price points and see what works for you at a relatively low risk.
Yeah, but leaving that behind as well, the fact is that they could have released any number of things as really tight, really well. I mean, we've made this point until we're blue in the face, but they could have delivered any number of recent titles as on Xbox Live, Arcade, or PSN, and experimented with it that way. Like even things like, I think, Resident Evil Revelations. I mean, that was a great game, but it's a 3DS game. Does that need to be a box game? Does it? Really? A port of a 3DS game? Really?
Capcom.
Really, Capcom? And what I will say in Capcom's defense, though, is that they are one of the few sort of really big sort of Japanese publishers who are saying, shit, we need to be concentrating on the PC a lot more. They are doing that well. We are starting to see many more PC versions coming out, and their release dates are quickly becoming simultaneous now. The gap is like decreasing now. That is a good sign, at least. But yeah, a lot of the problem is they said they're going to strengthen their digital offerings, which means probably a bunch more DLC. Now, they've got burned with on-disc DLC before, so we're going to have to see what they plan to do about that. I really hope they concentrate on XBLA games and PSN games and PC games, perhaps episodic, perhaps a new perhaps a new Resident Evil that's survival horror based and is delivered digitally. So if people don't buy it, they can just cancel it, like a couple of episodes in. That way they can do survival horror without worrying about the whole niche market thing and huge overheads. Just saying, you don't need 600 people to do that. So yeah, hopefully they'll do that rather than say, right, now everything is DLC.
Or
here's
or following what the likes of Bethesda and Firaxis have been saying, which is that gamers want, newsflash, gamers want good DLC.
Yeah, there is
awesomeness. Take your time over it, make it good. Don't knock it off in the space of a few weeks just because you have those few weeks. Like, put some time and effort into it. Create something that people are going to engage with and buy, and keep playing. Look at Battlefield. Look at Skyrim. Look at XCOM.
We'll sort of look at Skyrim, but like the first two expansions were pretty naff, and one of those two expansions was like building a random house. Like Skyrim totally dropped the ball. Like, where was our Shivering Isles?
Thing is, do you know
Where
what?
was our Shivering Isles?
That was Hotfire, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hotfire? Is that
Half-Fire.
Yeah. But people wanted that.
Some people wanted that, but I think Skyrim.
And eventually they gave us Dragonborn itself.
Dragonborn was great, but I still don't think it measures up to the big fatness of, say, Shivering Isles
Or Blood Moon.
or Blood Moon. God, Blood Moon was great. Tribunal wasn't so great. Blood Moon was just brilliant. Like, you could even meet Nord Santa. Yeah, you could. It was awesome. Also, werewolves.
Bottom line, do DLC right, Capcom. If you're gonna realign, focus on digital offerings, make sure they're good, and don't stick them on the disc and just pull bits out.
Yeah, and in fact, sticking them on the disc is now nearly upon us in its most sort of illogical conclusion yet. Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. A brand new DLC pack that they're not distributing separately. They're only making you buy it if you buy the whole original game with it on the same disc.
This is why you're losing money!
Thing is, that kicks a huge amount of ass. It's basically a GOTY edition, so if you don't have Dragon's Dogma, hell yeah, get on that. But I've already got it, so I got to pay 20 quid. What now? So I am going to be checking that out, and will deliver appropriate judgment accordingly.
One last thing before we go, and again, it's a Bethesda thing, and it's Pete Hines' comments about single player games, which were quite refreshing. Because a few months back we had a slew of sort of devs and pubs coming out and saying, no, you can't do single player unless you've got sort of social elements. Like I think that came out of Crytek almost. You can't do it without a multiplayer component. There's just no point. It's too risky. Blah 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 blah. And we've said, no, look at the indies doing it. That's a great sort of way of doing it. And then Bethesda just came and went, fuck that. We're doing it with AAA. What up?
And they said, hey guys, look at that little game called Skyrim. That sold a few copies, huh? Look at that Dishonored game. Look at that Dishonored game. That's a single player game. So we kicked your ass with that as well. So admittedly, he then went on to say that, oh yeah, people who say that single player games are dying are just saying that because they're not doing single player games. Says the person who does only make single player games, saying that single player games are super great and relevant. But the fact is they are, and it's horses for courses. And saying that the idea that single player games will go away is ridiculous. Like, so long as they're ridiculously awesome, which is kind of Bethesda's thing, like their sort of deal, that's kind of what they do, then they're not going anywhere.
No, I like the fact he went outside Bethesda with his examples as well. He said Skyrim, Fallout 3, but mentioned Bioshock and mentioned Walking Dead. And the fact is that, like, we're gamers, and this ties into Volition's quote for the week. We want unique experiences. We want all of the experiences. Like, we want multiplayer, we want single player, we want sort of war shooters, and we want crazy, insane, ridiculous other things as well.
Yeah, we want all of it. So keep giving us all of it and make sure it's good.
Yeah, is that our Dealsbone top tip for the week?
It's pretty basic, but make good stuff. If it's single player games, DLC, whatever, if it's worth our while, then we'll buy it. And also, just don't task 600 developers with making it. Like, task an appropriate number of developers with developing something appropriate, and then market it appropriately, and then sell it, and you might get your money back.
Yeah, triple dip recession. Let's be a little bit realistic.
Yeah, exactly.
And make it good. But still make it good, yeah.
Yeah. Make it nice.
Put a little mustard on that mustard. Okay, so that's kind of a nice natural place.
Yeah. Anyway, it's time to go. I think let's go, everyone.
Thanks very much for listening, guys. We'll catch you again soon. Bye.
Bye.